Welcome back to the Untamed Chef, and today it's all about sweets in my kitchen. However, though sweet, it doesn't have to be very bad for you. So we're gonna start off today with my peach chocolate mousse. Let's get started. The very first thing I'm gonna need to do, and I prefer doing this by hand, is whipping my egg whites and then going ahead and whipping up my cream so we can incorporate our chocolate. I took the liberty already to melt down our chocolate, and the way we always melt down chocolate is just with the steam. We never use direct heat to melt chocolate, and I've heard people say you can put it in the microwave and stuff, and that's okay. However, as someone who was a chocolatier for a year, I promise you, we never did it that way. So all I did was I melted down my chocolate, and I'm just trying to bring the temperature down to at least 79 degrees. And it's getting close already. I kind of know this, I've been doing this for a while. But what you can typically tell when it's getting there, it'll start to thicken up. And as it starts to thicken up as it goes down in the stream, I like to think of the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when they were going down the chocolate stream, and you kind of see how it looks. We know it's starting to get thickened up, so it's going to be ready for us to go soon. So when whipping egg whites, I like to hold my whisk right here. And I know this looks kind of funny. If we hold right here, we're going to get very tired. If I hold right here, I can control everything that I'm doing. So all I'm going to do is start. And the trick is to just move the wrist. It's not to move your whole elbow, otherwise it'll get tired very quick. This is 2 egg whites, farm fresh eggs. And what I love so much about doing it like this, I'm able to control where the viscosity of my egg whites is supposed to be at. Typically, we're looking for stiff peaks. What stiff peaks means is I want the egg whites to have a stiff peak at the top, kind of pointed out like a snowy mountain. And you'll see that very soon here. And like I said, when you're doing this Untamed cooking, guys, it's definitely a labor of love. But we can already start to see that the eggs are starting to get foamy, which means they're actually being whipped and we're pushing air into them. Now, I've seen people go like this, and that works if you don't mind standing for an hour. Personally, if I just go back and forward, I'm doing exactly what I want to do here. And already we're starting to see the peaks getting close to forming. And take a look how it's starting to get thickened up here. If we were making marshmallows, this is exactly the same way we would do it, with a lot of sugar. We started off with 2 egg whites, very liquidy. And you're starting to already see that we are starting to get some peaks, but this is not stiff peaks yet. This is still very soft. I promise this will be worth all of the pain that you get from doing this by hand when we're enjoying this delicious mousse. And take a look what we have right here. This is what I'm talking about. Like I said, it looks like the peak of a mountain, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So we can put our egg whites to the side, and it's time to start whipping our cream. Now, I tell everybody all the time, the first instinct is you want to go out and buy some already made whipped cream. And that's fun and all, but I personally like doing it like this just because it's that labor of love, like I said. And I think as a chef and someone who loves food the way I do, I don't mind doing this because I know the end result is totally worth it. We have a saying in my kitchen: if the juice is worth the squeeze, then squeeze. That's exactly what we're doing. You can already start to see how we're starting to thicken up here. And all we're doing is just doing a back and forth motion. So we're not really, we're not breaking our wrist here. I'm just going back and forward. And every time it hits against the side, what's happening is we're pushing air into the cream. And it's making this very beautiful. And this is what I'm looking for. We have fresh whipped cream. Now it's time to do a fold. Folding always starts from the bottom over. You don't go like this when you fold, otherwise you're going to break all the fluffiness. We do not want to do that. So what we're going to do is grab, lift over, grab, lift over, grab, and lift over. Put this inside here. First thing I want to do is get all my whipped cream. You can start to see that is beautiful, fresh whipped cream. Now it's time to grab our egg whites, put them in there on the side. This is super gorgeous. This is so tasty too. What I love about making our mousse is it's a dessert you can make in advance, and that always makes my life a lot easier when I'm doing dinner parties and stuff, and even when I got family coming over. They always tell me to make a dessert for them, and I'm tired sometimes, but this, I can make this 2 days in advance and have it ready. So now that we have that mixed over, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my chocolate. Just a little bit at a time, and I always let it go down a little bit just on the sides. One side, we pick a side, and that's great right there. So what I do is I grab all my chocolate, I fold right over, and what you want to see is almost like a chocolate slab here, going right around, going right around, right around. And this is beautiful because what's happening now, we have a full incorporation of the chocolate with the egg and with the cream. And this is your chocolate mousse right here. We started with our egg whites to stiff peaks, and we went ahead and did our whipped cream. We whipped that up nice and fluffy. We got our chocolate, we had that pre-melted down. 79 degrees is the temperature we're always going for. That's the core temperature it has to be. Because if it's any hotter, what's gonna happen is this isn't gonna be a mousse no more, it's gonna be a mush. And there's been many a times when I've gone to restaurants and I had frozen mush, and you can tell the difference because that light airiness that we look for in our chocolate mousse was gone. Take a look at how beautiful that is right there. And what I'm gonna do now is slowly I'm gonna put in our peaches. This is Wawona Foods out of Fresno, California. One of the best people I know is Blake Schmidtkamp, and he is a big fan of the Untamed chef, nice enough to give us some of these peaches. And what I like about peaches with chocolate, we have the sweetness of the peaches, but more importantly, we have that bitterness from our chocolate. And this makes for something delicious and tasty. So we have everybody all the time wants to make a recipe that is sweet and healthy. Well, I got news for you. This is it right here. Folding these peaches in, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's light, it's airy, it's fluffy, and it's untamed. Take a look at that. We'll be right back with our next untamed treat. Stay tuned.
Mother Earth products are a delicious variety of foods that are dried. Mother Earth's products can be taken anywhere. On vacation, activities, world travels, the cellar, the basement, the kitchen table. Hey, why not stock up on all these dried foods and put them in your cabinet? Choose from any one of their varieties, like beans, dried vegetables, entrees, freeze-dried fruits, freeze-dried vegetables, food storage supplies, grains, cereals, and mixes, and a whole lot more. Mother Earth's products are perfect to store foods later and then use them at a certain period of time by rehydrating them in water or your favorite stock mixture. For more information about Mother Earth's products, log on to motherearthsproducts.com.
Everybody, welcome back to the Untamed Chef. So what we're gonna get started on next is my untamed bread pudding utilizing the Wawona peaches. Once again, this is one recipe that I promise you're gonna love. Let's get started. The very first thing we're gonna do here is I have some brioche that we toasted up. Now, the reason why we toasted this up, it adheres better when we're making a bread pudding to have bread that has a little bit of crunch to it. And as you can definitely see and hear, this will definitely work. So all I'm gonna do is get this bread, and it's very rustic the way we have it. And I'm gonna compress it down after we get our mixture made. We have some cream right here, not going in yet. Next thing going in are Wawona peaches. Beautiful, beautiful. It smells unbelievable already. I love the smell of these peaches. The color is out of this world. I'm gonna put some brown sugar. And this is about, I say about a good 2 tablespoons. So we're just gonna do enough. I like to gradually put it over. And if you noticed, I'm wearing gloves. And the reason why is when we're doing this, it's just always good practice, sanitary-wise, not to be putting your hands in the food. And when you're doing a bread pudding, you really have to get your hands dirty to pull this off. And we're gonna go right over the top with some cinnamon. I love this, very, very fresh. And we have some beautiful walnuts. I don't like to chop these or anything because the body of what we're doing here is fantastic. We have 2 eggs, the yolks especially. Now I can start doing a little bit of work, so that's what I'm gonna do. Very gently, I'm just gonna crush this down. We're just getting it all nice and crushed down. This is a really important part of making a good bread pudding, is that we have to get all these flavors mixed together, like so. And I'm compressing it down, you notice that. Next we're gonna do is we're gonna get some sugar. So we've got our brown sugar in there, we have our regular sugar in there. And sometimes, you know what, the sugar, they get these little sugar balls, all you gotta do is just crush them, and they turn right back into sugar. Very, very important. Now we have our vanilla bean. This is a Madagascar vanilla bean. What I love so much about vanilla beans as opposed to vanilla extract is real vanilla. It's not only got an amazing aroma, but it also has a really fresh taste. Whereas the extracts, they don't have that same flavor no more. And it's awesome too, because if you put this in some salt, you get some vanilla salt. Or you can just put it in a jar and leave it in your car, and guess what? You have an air freshener for at least 3 weeks. So what I like to do is using the tip of my knife carefully, we're gonna run our knife through our bean, all the way through, and if it breaks off the back end, it's okay. We can always rerun right back through there, because all we're trying to do is extract the beans out of this vanilla pot. We want the beans. The beans are the little seeds. See that? Split right down the middle. Very carefully, just using the force of my knife, I go ahead and I scrape out all those beans right there, the little seeds. I call them beans, I call them seeds, but you know what? They're little vanilla specks, but that is the essence of a vanilla bean. And we're gonna use the whole bean because, you know, I want this to have that nice vanilla essence that you can only get from a fresh vanilla bean. Absolutely gorgeous. And it looks like it's kind of smeared on there. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in our cream. This is where the messy part happens now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to work this through. And remember, it's a bread pudding, so it's supposed to be light and it's supposed to be delicious. I'm just going to keep working through a little bit more right here. And you can start to see all the flavors that are massing together. And this is super important because we want to have a delicious bread pudding. And the best way to have a great bread pudding is to make sure that we can mix all the flavors together. That way you get a little bite of the peach, you get a little bite of the walnut, you get some of that fresh cinnamon, everybody gets that fresh vanilla. We'll just finish off with the rest of the cream here and the rest of our sugar. We're just working right through all of this. Absolutely just gorgeous what we have right here. The very last thing we're gonna do is our You Sweet Thing jelly. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab I'd say about a tablespoon to start. And then we'll go ahead and grab one more. Because I always think that ingredients that mash well together is when you mix spicy with sweet. And that's definitely what we're doing right now. And this is gonna make for a beautiful, beautiful bread pudding. So I'm just gonna rub it down right here. Make sure we compress everything together. If it feels like it's still dry, all you gotta do is just smash it down a little bit more. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We'll compress that down. And that's it. You can see how the vanilla beans are right on the top. Everything is mixed well together. We got the egg in there. This is ready to go in the oven, 375 degrees, 10 to 12 minutes. If you want your bread to be just a little bit more cooked, you can put it in there for about 3 more minutes, but I wouldn't put it past that because what makes bread pudding so wonderful, it's a creamy pudding with it's baked like a bread, but it's just really a creamy pudding, and that's exactly what we want. I'm gonna go get this in the oven, but stay tuned. We're gonna come back with my Untamed poutine, and though it's not sweet, I promise you, it's a treat to most.
Yes!
The authentic recipes for all of our products are signature to La Morena. The chilies are literally hand-picked for each can. Everything is manufactured in Mexico and imported into the U.S. La Morena is best known for its quality and authentic flavor, giving our users a taste of home. Stock up on flavor with La Morena.
Welcome back to the Untamed Chef. So like I said, though not sweet, this definitely is a treat. This is my Monterey sausage potato poutine. Let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pan nice and hot. We're gonna put a little bit of our limited use Artisana olive oil from Rosenthal Olive Ranch. Get this mixed up. Doesn't take too long. When we start to hear it popping up there, it's a good sign. We're gonna bring our heat down just a little bit. We just want to get a little bit of color on this. Once we get the color on that we're looking for, I put it in the oven, 400 degrees, 7 minutes, and we're gonna have the most unbelievable Monterey sausage you've ever had. The reason why they call this the Monterey sausage is because this recipe actually came from the Monterey Peninsula. Joe Lucido, master sausage maker out of Fresno, California, has taken his family's recipe and has adjusted something so beautiful that it's absolutely just capturing everybody's hearts across the state of California and soon the country. So we got a little bit of splashing happening. So what that typically means is my heat's a little bit too high. So I'm just gonna bring that down a little bit. I like to do this just with a regular spoon, keep them away from each other. We could use a spatula. Figure with a spoon it's a little bit easier just to flip them over, and that's exactly what we're gonna do right now. The next thing I'm gonna do once we get the browning on here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna season up our potatoes, and we're gonna put those in the oven as well. And those are gonna bake at 415 degrees for 18 minutes. We're gonna have a nice golden potato. Now a typical poutine, as found in the French Quarter, would be French fries with a gravy or a cheese sauce. We're gonna do that slightly different here only because our gravy is gonna be more like a reduction. It's a healthier version of a potato and Monterey sausage poutine. So we got a little bit of color there. I'm just gonna grab my spoon underneath here, and I don't mind touching it over here. Like I said, don't try this at home if you're not used to it. Turn our heat down a little bit here, and we're just gonna make sure that our sausages are getting cooked up We want a nice color on it, and if it's popping, we just got to bring the heat down a little bit more until you're able to take it. But also remember, we don't want to splash on each other, and even though some of us can take the splash, it's not a good practice to do that, only because I don't want to, condone any violence in the kitchen, most importantly. That's got some nice color. It's starting to smell good. What I'm going to do next is we're going to get our mirepoix. So remember, mirepoix is like the holy trinity of vegetables. It's 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, and 1 part celery. A little bit of salt. Some fresh black pepper. I'm going to put a little bit more oil in here as well. Just going to move our sausages out of the way here, because this is going to be the base for our flavor and what we're doing with this dish. I want it to be incredible. So once my sausages are where I want them to be at, and I just got to put a little bit more color on here. We're almost right where we want to be at with this. Then we're going to get ready to hit it with some of our beef stock, our cream, our pepper jack cheese. We're going to reduce that down. We're going to add a little bit of our Kings River Winery red wine blend, and it's going to be a phenomenal gravy. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get started with my Untamed gravy to go with this Monterey sausage poutine. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Like I said, here is the gravy for our poutine. So what we did is we're just putting a little bit of color. Very, very important. And when we put color on the vegetables, we're actually bringing the richness of this gravy to life. Next thing we're going to do is some beef stock. Once I put the beef stock in, I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat up now, so we can start a quick reduction. This is Kings River Winery, the Petite Syrah. Looks beautiful already. We're going to use some heavy cream, pepper jack cheese that we're going to grate right into the mixture. And I like using a microplane to do this. Make sure it goes in there nice and fine. Got to work a little bit harder. And if some of these chunks like this fall right in there, it's okay. They're going to melt right up, and that's okay for us, because what I'm trying to do is I want to have a nice, rich gravy. And like I said, typically this is done with fries in the French Quarter, but we're doing this healthier today. Got a nice mixture going right here. We start to see this color, and I like the color. It's that offset pink color, but it's going to keep reducing down, and that's definitely what I want to happen here. While that's working, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper on my potatoes, and we're going to get these in the oven as well, because it can't be a poutine without potato. A little bit of oil here. Got fresh grade black pepper, sea salt, we're just going to work this around here. We're going to get this in the oven. Stay tuned. You're going to love the way all of this looks when we come back on The Untamed Chef. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to finish up our Monterey sausage poutine. So what we did was we took our gravy, and like I said, it's a healthier style gravy. It doesn't got a lot of flour in it. And one thing that Auguste Escoffier taught when he did Nouvelle Fusion Cuisine and Nouvelle French Fusion Cuisine was that there's a healthier way to eat French. And that's exactly what we've done here. And typically what you do with a sauce is you would throw out the mirepoix. Why would you throw out these beautiful onions, carrots, and celery? I have no idea, but guess what? This Untamed chef, he doesn't do it. Take a look how we're gonna put this right on top. This is just so gorgeous. This is what I want. When I think of a poutine, I want something beautiful, I want something sexy, and I want something that screams French Quarter. Gorgeous. And I always love to finish with a little bit more cheese because, I don't know. People say I'm a cheesy chef, and I used to think that was a bad thing, but actually it's a really good thing. I love cheese, and it just enhances the flavor of what we're doing. And it's always a very applicable garnish. So there it is right here. This is my Untamed Chef Monterey sausage poutine, and it's not only delicious, but it actually is very nutritious. Everything we've done, the potatoes are baked, they're not fried. We used olive oil, we used seasoned light salt and light pepper, and this sausage is 100% pork, and it's good for you. Next, we used our unbelievable peaches from Wawona Peaches. Thank you so much to the Schmidt-Cap family. I really appreciate your guys' generous donation to helping out with this amazing dessert. And we did this chocolate mousse, and it's out of this world. Here we finished off with our bread pudding. Walnuts, Wawona peaches, vanilla, cinnamon. It's just got everything that makes for an unbelievable bread pudding. I'm Albert J. Hernandez, the Untamed Chef, and I'll see you next time.